permanent Washington state. That's why I think we really also have to get into the mindset that there is a huge difference between state party politics and federal politics.
That's true. Yeah.
We are really missing the boat here. And I think this would be a great transition if we want to talk about what is good about the Democratic Party. Look at what's going on in Minnesota right now. They are shoving through every progressive possible policy that they can in that state. And that state is not as blue as people think, but they have the power right now. And they're basically saying we are doing a populist left initiative across the board. Regardless of what Amy Klobuchar may want, this is what we're doing here in this state, and they are not backing down. And God bless them for doing it, because it sets precedent for the other states across the country to say, you want to know what it's like to live in a social democracy? Look at what they're doing over there. And they are not asking for any help from Washington. And that's why they're getting shit done. I hate to say it, but the second you get Washington out of the equation, it's kind of amazing. Look at the state that you live in. That is Oregon is the perfect example of when you have the blend of the progressive and the libertarian kind of coexisting, almost not maybe in harmony, but enough to say this is contentment for a lot of people. And you live in one of the best run states in the whole country. Mm-hmm. And it's very, very blue. And to me, you almost forget the fact that it's blue. It's just a state that has elected officials that by and large, especially at the state level, listen to their constituents.
Yeah, well put. And honestly, to kind of move away from the doomerism, because I'm always concerned that I inject too much cynicism into audiences. So I don't want people to come away feeling demoralized. But this, I'm sharing my mental headspace. But at the state level, we've seen Democrats who know how to fight. In Nebraska, I think it was, they filibustered an anti-trans bill for months. They lost ultimately, but have you ever seen congressional Democrats fight that hard on anything? You have, the Democrats in Tennessee doing really well. And having good, strong Democrats at the state level, they're never going to be perfect, but they are completely different than national Democrats. In my state of Oregon, for example, we have corporate Democrats for sure, but the corporate Democrats look like progressives almost, nationally speaking. Right. So shifting the Overton window at the state level is really important. And part of the reason why Oregon, I think, is such a well-run state. We have our flaws, obviously, right? No state is perfect. But the reason why we have accomplished so much, in my opinion, is one, because we actually have ballot initiatives. And we have a lot of organizations who are constantly fighting to move the window there. But on top of that, we also have more, more electoral participation. And part of this is because we've had mail-in ballots for a very long time, right? So none of us in Oregon, we don't have to stay in line for hours. We just get our ballot mailed to us, and I take hours filling it out. I look up every single tiny little city council, every small thing I can take my time to Google. And since we've had it for so long, it's not controversial. Nationally, this is a very volatile issue because of, what Trump has said. But even Republicans here, if you were to propose taking away our mail-in ballots, even Republicans would be fucking pissed, because it's just easy. It's convenience. And because of this, though, you lower that barrier and you allow for more participation. And when you allow more people into the political process, then you get better representation, because you're not just representing that small amount of donors now. You have a shit ton of people who are going to be pissed if you succumb to, this corporate interest. And part of, another reason why I think that the Democratic Party in Oregon does better than the National Democratic Party is because they actually fight Republicans, right? They hold Republicans' feet to the fire. And that's really important. I would like that progressives held, corporate Democrats' feet to the fire in this state more, but at least you see this pushback, right? So Republicans in the state can't monopolize discourse, can't create narratives out of thin air. So yeah, I like that point about the state level, because I think that if people feel, it's very easy to feel dejected if you just focus on national politics. But if you look at the state level and meet people in your state and what you can accomplish even at the local level, it really changes the game. You don't feel as powerless. You realize, oh my God, there's things that we can do. And one last thing I'll say, going back to the third party thing, one thing that frustrates me, and I wish that the left would stop doing this, is stop fighting over petty things. Because I think that when it comes to the issue of voting third party or not voting third party, there's going to be some leftists that will always vote third party. That's just a fact. and there's going to be some leftists that are going to suck it up and vote, Democrat no matter what. I don't think that there's a need to like bicker, right? Like I posted a video about Cornel West, kind of sharing my thoughts, and I tweeted out a picture of like the duality of the responses that I got. One of them was saying, "Oh, so you want Trump to win?" And another was saying, "Oh, so your vote blue no matter who?" It's like, did you not watch the fucking video? You know what I mean? So like we don't have to relitigate this every 4 years. Like, do what you're going to do. I'll do what I'm going to do. We shouldn't vote shame each other, right? If don't vote shame Biden voters, don't vote shame third party voters. If the left can put aside this dumb fuckery, then I feel like we could actually get things done. But again, the online left is probably different than the actual left, because if you talk to somebody at your local DSA meeting, they don't know what the fuck is going on. They've never heard of all of us. They don't know who Jimmy Dore is or Mike from the Humanist Report is. We don't exist to them. These are just normal people, right? And that's really important. That is really refreshing and liberating. Like I just showed up, and I've shared this before, but it's a really good example. I went to a town hall with my representative, and I just asked like a couple of questions, and I came prepared. I had the bills cited. One of them was HR 4000, because I'm like, we need electoral reform. Every time I do a town hall, I ask about electoral reform. But like somebody afterward, this girl approached me, she's like, "Hey, do you want to like exchange email addresses? Because you seem like you're really interested in this, and I am too. And I don't have anybody to talk to about this. My family is all conservative." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." That didn't budge, bloom into a friendship. We ghosted each other. I don't remember what happened, but just having that 10-minute conversation really makes you feel like, oh my God, I'm not crazy. Because if you just like fixate on national politics online and you're in your own head, it's going to drive you fucking nuts. So having other people to like converse with in your area where you can actually make a difference, that matters. I mean, Ron Placone, like he got a public municipal broadband. I don't know if you got it introduced, but he like showed up and raised the salience of this in his area. I think it was I don't know what district he's in, but like, it just goes to show you, like, your voice matters a lot more when it comes to that local level. So, like, if you're feeling discouraged, engage locally.
Amen.
Yeah.
And I do think that one thing that's going to be different this time around, and I'm wondering if you're thinking it's going to be the same way. I don't think the vote shaming thing is going to work like it did over the last couple of election cycles. I think a lot of people are done with it, and they're just like, you know what? We are going to hell anyway. We might as well prepare for what's going to happen after we get to hell. And it's like we are now starting to prepare for the inevitable that this system is truly breaking down. Something is going to happen of significance. Maybe something as insane as Donald Trump being elected president again from a jail cell. It's like that's... And if people think that that's crazy, it's not. Eugene ran for president from prison. That was a thing. And he got a lot of votes too. So to me, I don't put anything past anybody. I just think we are at a point where we have to stop living in fear. Fear has already taken over so many people. Now you have to fight back against that fear. And I do think those and look, you saw it as clear as day. They know that Cornel West is a threat because they are not wasting any time in trying to smear him, throw him under the bus, tell him that he shouldn't even run, that you should stop doing this right now. Do not participate in democracy, because people might actually like hearing what you have to say. Like if you're already going at that length, there's enough people that are just going to start looking at this and saying, maybe we should demand more of our elected officials. I don't know. That's just my thought. And I do think that effect is ultimately going to happen. But like you said, this more than anything else, this is a class war. This is a war of the working class against the ruling class. And we have to come to those realities. That's why we emphasize labor so much on our channel. And that's why, despite on the social side of things that Joe has done some good things, on the economic side, especially on the labor side, he's been a complete failure. And that's where it hurts the most, because if he was doing those tangible things, forget the parliamentarian and the $15 minimum wage. We needed a real populist left option post Donald Trump. And instead we got status quo, Joe. And that is the worst possible thing that could be happening right now. That's why even somebody like Ron DeSantis is feeling his oats, thinking he's got a real shot at becoming the next president. And so to me, we really have to be uniting the working class every single day. That is our that is our fight. That really is our fight. Because like you said, the reliance on electoral politics is not going to save us. But building a true coalition of working people in this country, that could save us. That's our best shot as far as I'm concerned. Jen?
Yeah, I mean, we've said all along that this needs to be a labor revolution. This is a class war that we're having.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with what you said, Mike, but we need to walk and chew gum, right? Like the trans issues are important, right? These are people that are being used as collateral damage. We're hearing the same arguments that we heard back from like the Anita Bryant gay days, like back in those days when I remember my mom like protesting that. And these are just the most vulnerable people that they can get people to punch down. And that's really where we are, is we're like in a very sad and desperate time where people are looking for something. And if the only voices that they're hearing are the loud ones telling them to kick down, you know, that, and there's nobody on the left telling them otherwise, not within electoral politics in this country.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.